Hey everyone, I am Artosis, and here I am with some more replays during this wonderful Christmas season. We have mouzMaNa because I am a huge fan of his Protoss vs Terran play. So of course, we're going to see him against a Terran, and it is Empire's DieStar. You may remember some replays that I casted before with him versus Cass in the finals of the Go4 SC2 Cup, where Mana absolutely dominated. If you haven't seen him, go check him out. He shows some awesome style play. And I totally enjoyed it. So let me tell you about these guys. DieStar, I'm not sure who he is. The name seems somewhat familiar, but he's in Empire, so obviously he's going to be reasonably good. And he's playing Mana, which means unless he was an unlucky newbie in one of the early rounds, he has to be pretty good because Mana gets deep everywhere. This Protoss player is a really talented young guy from Poland. And he was very good at StarCraft 1, and here he is in StarCraft 2, about 1,000 times better than he was in StarCraft 1, so it's really exciting to see the evolution of a player. Now, I'm wondering what build order we're going to see from Mana. Looks like he's going to do pretty standard, his 12 gate, and will he go for his Observer Rush? He loves to go 2 Gateway Observer against Terran quite often. He also uses some 16 Nexus play, which is totally rad, but the 2 Gateway Observer is something he used a lot in StarCraft 1, and now in StarCraft 2 he's using it a lot, and it's doing so well because he's just using the Observers for scouting, making Immortals if he has to, but not really going for that Colossus, because when you go 1 or 2 base Colossus, I mean, that is your entire economy is wrapped up into one tall lumbering unit, and it just doesn't work out as well. Mana really likes high Templar base play, so I'm excited to see if he's going to go for something like that, but we're not going to be able to see really until we get a Stalker out, and that Stalker is going to go ahead and let us know because, well, the SCV is going to be scouting, and you don't want him seeing what you're doing until you get the SCV out of there. I mean, you're not obviously going to make all your tech buildings while the SCV is sitting here. You got to get that Stalker out. Very slow Stalker here, though, really working on his economy instead. Quite interesting. I like that. He did scout that there is a gas and Marines are making, so Mana has pulled out with this probe here. And, you know, that tells him a lot if you see the gas. Oh, looks like they did a little pause there. But anyways, if you see the gas, you know, for instance, it's not just going to be like 4 barracks Marines most likely, or, you know, it's probably not going to be proxy barracks unless it's some sort of silly Marine Marauder rush. And it's probably not going to be a super quick command center. It could be if you go Marauder, but anyways, good amount of information for both players right now. Skipping the Stalker, instead getting a Zealot and then a Sentry out, but just the fact that the Zealot was making and so late on top of that made DieStar actually run away because Stalkers can catch SCVs. So, nice little mind game there, not wasting any time making a Stalker. He does like to get those sentries out quite quickly. And there we go. Standard Mana play right here. Getting up that very quick robotics facility. And that's going to allow him to get that Observer out there. And that'll make him quite safe against pretty much anything, especially on a map like this where it has a very thin ramp. You can go ahead and force field there and not allow them to really hurt you. The only thing that might be scary would be a Thor Rush. In that case, of course, you're going to pump out Immortals as quickly as possible. Now, Mana doing a good job with having this probe right here at the Xel'Naga Tower. Double gas for Empire. Of course, Mana doesn't know that yet. A bunker going up. That shows us that there's going to be a lot of tech. Siege tank coming out. So we may see an expansion, just Marine siege tank and expand. Siege tanks are becoming more and more popular right now in Terran versus Protoss, but I don't really know exactly why. I guess it's because they are pretty good against Colossus style tech. But again, I think that the matchup is going to be switching over a lot to high Templar play, and thus then the Terran might have to switch up his strategy. You know, maybe go for Hellions quite a bit. Very good units against Zealot high Templar. Anyways, so we do have a single siege tank out, barracks getting a reactor, starport going up. We may see Banshee, switching to Banshee. You know, the siege tank is going to help him hold off any early rushes. You know, if they're, you know, Stalkers do okay against the bunker with Marines. You just throw up a Guardian Shield, but with the siege tank in there doing a nice big 25 damage per shot to Stalkers, that would be able to hold off a rush pretty easily. Now, Mana is expanding while searching the map with his Observer. No doubt he will get a second Observer because that's what Mana likes to do. Always sends it to the back of the mineral line. Very standard, safe play. And, ooh, this is very interesting. You know, Mana lately has been doing a lot of High Templar tech after observers. So, obviously, EmpirDieStar is going to know about this. And Mana is going to go for a robotic space. So, off of 2 base, we're going to see Colossus play. So, I'm interested to see what Mana does with this because it does use up your economy so hardcore. Now, DieStar is getting a Raven. That's going to allow him to get rid of observers. I do like that play quite a bit. The Nexus just about finishing up. Meanwhile, the command center is up for DieStar. And I am so pumped to see exactly what Mana is playing for us here because he's been doing so many really good economy style plays with High Templars and with Zealots. You know, you can really afford a lot of those, hold off a lot of armies with them. And he's going to go for those Colossus now, so it's going to be pretty cool. The Observer does go down as the Raven pops out. Just pumping some units out, getting that Hellion. That's going to be just for scouting. Probably clear out these probes. A good move to do with that fast Hellion. Definitely worth it to take that map awareness away from Mana. A player will always be confident if he has the Xel'Naga Watchtowers, like all of them on the map. You can see so much. Really downs the amount of areas that your opponent can attack you from. Now we do see Colossus being pumped out. Even getting Thermal Lance very early. Pretty important upgrade for against Terran. And a 3rd gas up, not the 4th quite yet, just starting it now. He's got to keep that probe saturation pretty high. He's got to have a ton of probes to actually try to support this Colossus. Notice still on only 2 warp gates. But for now, that's going to be okay. Notice 43 probes against 36 SCVs. And why is the 2 warp gates okay right now? Well, very slow addition of barracks onto the Terran player. So he doesn't have to really power yet. You kind of have to power in response to power. Instead, there was a lot of tech from EmpirDieStar, and then Mana did a lot of tech. In the meantime, keeping his probe count above the SCVs is very important because the mules are in there as well. So, so far, just very good play by both players here. May seem like a boring game, but if you are like me and you are just so excited to see people actually get economies going, it has been a blast so far. So we see the 4th barracks going up for DieStar. More Colossus being pumped out. Notice Mana always hides his tech units. He does not want people to see these. And that's kind of interesting in this time because he is getting that Twilight Council. There it is. So whether he's getting that for High Templars or for Zealot Charge or for even Blink Stalkers. Hell, maybe even DTs. No, not DTs. He's already seen a Raven. That's interesting because if you want to switch over to High Templars like it looks like he's doing, you may want to show the Colossus. And by showing the Colossus, that's going to force Viking. And with a smooth transition into High Templars, that is really going to be awesomely on your side. So we see he is planning this transition, which is quite cool. Let's take a look at the units that are being produced by our Terran player. He is making a lot of Vikings. So let's see, does he know about this building? He doesn't know yet about the... Look at that. See, there's the robotic support bay. Bam. EmpirDieStar's vision. Cannot see it. So he doesn't know about it, but making the Vikings, so... Again, a little bit blind on making those Vikings. But anyways, even though that's going to be good against these, notice Mana's only making 3. He has the Thermal Lance. He's going to switch over to High Templars. He is chrono boosting out the Side Storm as quickly as possible. I'm sure he'll start Khadarian Amulet shortly thereafter. Throwing up his gateways because now that he's stopped production of the Colossus, he can actually go ahead and make a whole bunch of gateways because he can support a ton of units, especially with this sick economy. 62, 63 now probes off of 2 base, still pumping probes out. Beautiful economy management thus far from Mana. Now it looks like DieStar has decided, okay, I have enough units, it's time to move out here. And he is, in fact, moving out. He has the Raven for a couple point defense drones if need be, so that can be pretty scary. Stim is done. Concussive Shell's not done. Let's take a look. He is not getting those, but the combat shields just about finishing up. Gonna want those concussive shells for his few Marauders. It's definitely worth it. And it looks like he wants to take a 3rd base, not just gonna hit some random lame timing attack that probably won't work. Mana now coming out, getting Khadarian Amulet. It is on the way. Chrono boosting out because it is so awesome. And no Zealot Charge yet, and his minerals are building up, so that's going to be something very important to spend his gas on right away from this point, as he's going to be able to pump out a ton of Zealots quite soon. And notice he is switching over to mostly Zealots. And here we go. He's going to run up and very slow Zealots, but good Psy Storms. And it looks like he's Psy-Storming a bunch of point defense drones. That's not working out so well yet. But mouzMaNa just crushing up through here. Will he be able to win this battle, though? It's really looking like Empire DieStar is going to be able to take out, even though there's some great Psy-Storms. Look at how weakened all these units are. But the point defense drones stopping the Stalkers from shooting so much. And thus, we had the Vikings take out all the Colossus. All that was left were some Psy-Storms. And DieStar looking pretty good so far. I cannot actually fathom... That's why I looked away from this. I cannot fathom that he actually, when the Stalkers were running up the ramp, he flew over his super expensive and ultra damaged Vikings and landed them. The probes could have killed him, so that was a terrible move there. But other than that, pretty good play so far by DieStar. Let's take a look at the supplies. He is ahead 131 against 116. And he's going to take a third base, so definitely ahead of mouzMaNa at this point. Let's take a look at the upgrades. Charge finally on the way. Adding a ton more gateways, so mouzMaNa realizes, uh-oh, my macro is not doing that well right now. Over 1,000 minerals. Got to get a whole bunch of Zealots out here and use up all my gas on Psy-Storm. So we will see how that works out for him. Right now, Medevacs mostly being made, and a Ghost Academy, so very good timing on that Ghost Academy. Could have been maybe just slightly quicker, but I don't think he really knew that High Templars were out. So it's good that he's immediately getting that. Look at that. Engineering Bay, I was just going to say, needs to turn this into a planetary, especially against this unit composition. And it looks like DieStar going to attack through this side. mouzMaNa's third base. I don't know if he can hold up. He doesn't really have charge yet, which is going to be so important for this huge amount of Zealots. Does he? Yeah, concussive shells are done, so they're going to do quite well against Zealots for now. But a lot of Psy-Storms being warped in here. mouzMaNa poking and prodding with his Stalkers. Let's take a look. A ton of Tech Lab barracks coming out, so we're going to see a ridiculous amount of Marauders being produced. Ghosts as well. And DieStar, he's got a pretty big supply. It is 161, but mouzMaNa is caught up quite quickly with his really cheap gateway units, going up to 158 so far. His third base going to come up pretty quickly here. Has a good number of High Templars. Probably wants to spread those out a little bit, though. That can be scary once the Ghosts actually get out in the field. And, oh no, I hit that T button. I am so sorry. Everyone's like, oh, you can't work a replay. Shut up. Alright, here we go, loading. Alright, let's pretend that didn't happen once again. See, I go for the unit key, and I missed it, and I hit the T key. Anyways, we do see mouzMaNa taking that third base. Forge going up finally, very slow Forge, but it's been kind of a weird, funky two-base game. Gotta be careful if you want to do that off two-base. Some Siege Tanks are out. Looks like this will turn into a planetary pretty quickly here. No upgrades quite yet for DieStar. Pumping out units. Let's see here. Bunch of Zealots. Charge almost done. +1 on the way. I'm sure that he's going to be chrono boosting that quite a bit. Yeah, just wore off there. And a slow tank push here by DieStar. He may want to use bunkers as well because of the Psy-Storm. Of course, and the Zealots as well with the Siege Tank. And it looks like mouzMaNa is deciding to go as soon as his charge is done. And he's going to go ahead and try to Psy-Storm the hell out of the army of DieStar. And, well, DieStar has a lot of units in Planetary about to finish, so it looks like he's going to be able to hold on quite easily against mouzMaNa here. mouzMaNa way overdoing it with this attack. And, really, I mean, he damaged a lot, as you see, especially the Medevacs, very low on health. You might want to try some feedbacks on those. But, seriously, the Planetary finish up made that not so good a choice. Here come the more Speed Zealots, though, and as the tanks siege, these are going to do a lot of damage. Nice Psy-Storms. Still, the Medevacs healing quite a bit. Will he kill some Medevacs? Yes, he kills a couple Medevacs, and really damaging up all the units of DieStar, but he's going to have to warp in more and more units, because DieStar may do a counterattack here. No, in fact, he does run back. His unit's so gravely injured, though, mouzMaNa may be able to break this relatively soon, even though his supply is way behind. 117 against 147, 30 supply up for our Terran player. But let's take a look at the unit counting station. 90 probes! 90 probes against 68 SCVs. Oh my bejesus. That is amazing 90 probes. That is too many probes for 3 base, especially when 1 base is basically mined out at this point. mouzMaNa definitely making a little bit too many probes. And switching over now, as you see, to Colossus. As he reduces siege tank numbers and more ghosts come out, that's going to be a good timing tech switch. But right now, he's damaged all this so much, I feel like he does need a few more Psy Storms going off in this. Here comes a Ghost out onto the field. The Observer going to be able to see that. A lot of Zealots and High Templars kind of spread out. It's 3 over here and then some over here, not all in the same range of an EMP. More High Templars being warped in. And it is time for DieStar to actually start bunker pushing, which is very, very smart against Psystorm, especially with siege tanks. And he can go about this slowly and methodically, push up. As soon as he gets a siege tank in range of that Nexus, he is going to be able to really force mouzMaNa into a confrontation he does not want to go into. Now mouzMaNa realizes what's going on, takes this extra base over to the side, and a High Templar coming out to Psystorm. Barely lives through a couple siege tank blasts. Let's take a look-see down here. Looks like 4th base for DieStar going to be coming up. Pretty similar timing to mouzMaNa's. A couple Vikings sitting over here ready to do some harassment damage. More Colossus being pumped out. And mouzMaNa just poking with some of these Zealots. Let's take a look at the supplies. 188 for mouzMaNa, 200 for DieStar. Now, DieStar has to decide something to do here. Do I add a bunch of production facilities to refill my maxed army very quickly? Or do I spend my money on defenses? We will see. Does do a couple EMPs here, mostly hitting Zealots. And now mouzMaNa decides, okay, it is time. Speed Zealots, and oh, nice EMP. But some good Psystorms going off as well. And these Colossus going to do some reasonable damage, but it's such a little choke. Those Speed Zealots not doing nearly as well in this map. Morphing into Archons, and it looks like DieStar may be avenging his teammate Cass, who lost last week in the Go for SC2 Cup to mouzMaNa. And pretty nice play here. Oh, a lot of Psystorm still from mouzMaNa, really damaging the army of DieStar. And look at that, everything's so low health at this point. mouzMaNa still warping in more units, but he's a little bit high in the bank, 2.5k and 500 in the bank for Minerals and Vespene, respectively. If he had that much in Zealots, he would have easily crushed over everything that remained. But instead, now he's 30 supply behind. And DieStar has to be feeling pretty hot right now. A lot more Zealots. High Templars warping in for mouzMaNa. Looks like he's going to go around to the side, maybe for a better attack. But attacking into here with Speed Zealots, maybe not the best choice. Maybe sacrifice the base, go over here, take this, attack around another side. I don't know. There's a lot of different ways you can do it, but it's pretty desperate to actually attack into there. Now, DieStar, he is pushing up more and more and more. Not making too many Marines, notice. I really like that. A few in there for some additional DPS and not using up too much gas. But mostly Marauders to live through those storms. And here we go. He's going to go ahead and attack into there. The Zealots coming in. And DieStar, some very nice spreads, but good Psystorms from mouzMaNa here. Backs up to that bunker that's full of Marines, so it can really get a lot of damage on. And DieStar crushing another mouzMaNa army. mouzMaNa down to 100 supply. DieStar at 150-ish. And wow, DieStar really pulling through here, even though mouzMaNa is being very scrappy and killing so many units for how many units he actually has out here with decent unit compositions. It looks like he may be run through at this point. DieStar at 132, mouzMaNa at 100, still warping in more Zealots, and most of the medevacs seem to be gone, which is good, but he needs more than this. mouzMaNa attacking into here. And still see, there's just more and more units standing from DieStar. mouzMaNa even having to pull the probes off of his 3rd base here. But he does have this 4th base down, so it's definitely not over at this point. DieStar not being quite as cost efficient as he used to be. And does he know about this base? Yes, in fact, he does. So he's going to go out here and attack immediately. And that is the right choice indeed. Look at mouzMaNa way out of position here. But he can warp in some High Templars if he gets enough gas. Doesn't have it right now. So it looks like some of these Zealots going to be going down, and when this Nexus goes down, it's going to be almost the point of no return for mouzMaNa. He is getting that +2 attack. DieStar with the +1 on his infantry units, and down go the probes. More and more supply of mouzMaNa is going to go away, dropping his probe count down to 56 at this point. Very few units out in the field. And we do have 98 against 166. Way more supply for DieStar. What will mouzMaNa be able to do here? Mostly Zealots and High Templars being made at this point against a Marauder tank composition, a few medevacs mixed in as well. DieStar in a dominating position. Look at that. That is actually insane. I have to see how many SCVs. 78 SCVs right now. But a lone Colossus going to go ahead and lay siege to this planetary fortress. Oh, you got to be careful there, buddy. That Ghost, though, ready for some EMP action. And does get the High Templar. So the Colossus runs away as the planetary fortress gets healed up by some repairs. Still sieging forward, splitting up his army to try to get less storm damage. Alright, let's see here. This is looking really, really bad for mono at this point. Look at this, maxed out DieStar. Mono with less minerals, less gas, and 70 less supply. So, looks like this game should be ending pretty soon. Might see some feedbacks. One good feedback right there, taking out a Ghost. Ghost costs more than a High Templar, so even if you can sack it for a feedback, definitely worth it. And Mana is going to have to do a last-ditch effort, and I believe that this is going to be it. The Zealot's just pouring in there as he spends all his money. Some good size storms really damage these units. These ones on the side do not have a lot of health as well. And Mana may be able to... Will he be able to break this? I don't know. The Zealot's starting to lose a lot of health now. DieStar moving back, and as he gets to the planetary, this little attack will be held off. He will be able to defend, in fact. And this Colossus, there's not really any anti-air units except for the Archons out right now. So he's got it. Bam, takes it out finally. But more and more units from DieStar are coming up. He is rallying more and more Marauders out. And it is looking like, ooh, some nice size storms. And DieStar's supply is dropping, but Mana's is not recovering is the problem. DieStar keeps dropping way down, then going, okay, bam, 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 make a ton of units. Look at that. 6 Marauders, 2 Medivacs, and a tank on the way. Constantly from DieStar, even some Marines and Ghosts being pumped out, whereas Mana just warping in a few units here and there. Can't even get up to 100 supply anymore. He's, oh man, almost double the supply for DieStar. Does have this additional base, even some Marauders over here to protect it. And I think we're going to have to see a GG from Mana after the next attack. I mean, this is it. His base is going to be mined out pretty quickly here, and he just doesn't have anything left. Ooh, hitting Archon with the siege tank. Archon's taking that out pretty quickly. And just luring him in is DieStar letting that tank get that extra damage in. Maybe be able to pick off some units such as the High Templar and the Archon. Very, very expensive units. Good ones to pick off. And yes, in fact I thought it would be earlier, but DieStar will be avenging his teammate Cass, who lost last week in the Go for SC2 Cup 2 Mana. Because he has almost twice the supply. Definitely outplayed Mana this game. And it is looking like this is going to be it. Zealot attack comes in. A lot of High Templars. Oh my god, EMPs basically every single High Templar. Mana may have been able to kill most of this army with those, but instead it just has a bunch of Archons morphing. And this is going to be just about it. More units walking in, but DieStar looks like he's going to have enough to end this game off. I swear to God, it's got to be GG in a moment here. Just probes coming out, 59 supply left for Mana against the 176 of DieStar. Mana really not wanting to leave this game, probably feeling invincible after last week and his great play there. But he is, in fact, not invincible. And DieStar taking sick amounts of damage. By the way, for anyone wondering how Mana kept holding this off so well, DieStar was attacking through something this wide all game long, and the size storms absolutely ate up his units. They should not have done that well. If he had attacked in a more open area, definitely would not have held on that long. Mana would not have. Anyways, that is it. GG. Mana loses. Congratulations to DieStar for taking him out, and thank you all for watching.